Have you ever felt lost, untethered, searching for something more? Welcome to Angelic Footprints, where the spirit meets the road on a journey to self-healing and rediscovery. I'm Dagmar, your host, psychic medium and seasoned traveler. Each week, we'll explore the world of angels and personal transformation. We're going to dive into compelling histories and captivating mythology. You're going to hear remarkable, real-life angel encounters and discover how you too can connect with the angels guiding your path. Whether it's through practical tips, meditation techniques, or stories that resonate deeply, Angelic Footprints is here to light your way. From mystical journeys to profound self-discovery, let's embark on this transformative journey together. Are you ready to find your angelic guide? Then subscribe to Angelic Footprints today and step into a world where angels walk beside you every step of the way. Angels, spirituality, healing. Let's ignite your transformation. Hello and welcome to the Angelic Footprints podcast show. Today I have a very special guest with me. Her name is SallyAnn from Heaven's Light Wellness, and she has over 4 decades of a dedicated practice. And with that, SallyAnn brings a wealth of experience to the field of holistic healing as a mindfulness and gratitude expert. She's also a guardian angel communicator, a clairvoyant psychic medium, a seasoned Reiki master, and an intuitive life coach. She has guided countless individuals on transformative journeys towards self-discovery and well-being, along the way offering intuitive angel readings and Reiki energy healing for insight and support along the way. SallyAnn, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome, welcome. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself that maybe I haven't covered?
I know, it sounds like a lot, right? Thank you for having me. I just feel really blessed in the work that I do. So I have been doing this for over 40 years, but I decided, I think I got a lot of guidance 10 years ago to do this 100% of the time. So I was in the corporate world, loved my corporate life, but knew that there was something else out there. And about 8 years ago, I feel like I got this, let's say let's say a whole bunch of moments. Sometimes I say like God smacked me around. He was tired of waiting for me, and had this experience that helped me leave the corporate world and do this 100% of the time because I just had support. I knew I felt a little lost and was starting to get a little itchy, like when you need to go on vacation or need to change your life up, and was feeling a little kind of itchy about that, and was talking to a friend. I was doing Reiki on her feet. She had plantar fasciitis. So I was helping her with her feet. And I said, I'm a little frustrated. I feeling, antsy and not as fulfilled as I normally do. And I would only work in places that I loved. If I didn't love it, you give it a shot. But like after 6 months, it's still going to be what it is. So if you can't change it, I would move on. And I was very, very blessed with a couple of really amazing positions that I stayed at for almost decades. And I was like, oh, I'm feeling antsy. And my girlfriend said, well, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I looked at her, I was like, what? And she's like, here, you're healing me. This is what you do on the side for friends. This is what you need to do 100% of the time. And it was really my like aha moment to go forward and do that. And that's what I did. I called up my vice president and I said, hey, we need to figure out an exit plan. And she was like, what? And I'm like, it's time. I told you 10 years ago I would do this until it wasn't fun anymore. And it's time. It's time for me to exit. And so was really grateful at the transition. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a little freaked out for about 6 weeks. I'm like, what am I doing? But really it all worked right back into place. And it's perfect.
I love the way that you said, I think you said God, but whether we call it God or spirit, they smack you around is because they want to give you that big push into what you're meant to be doing. And our stories are very similar. I too have a background in corporate, and I get totally what you're talking about. And I'm sure that there will be listeners out there who can identify with that story. Tell me, you talked about having angelic experiences, specifically a few. Would you like to share a couple of those with our listeners, please?
I'd be honored because I think we're just all not sure of how it's supposed to affect us, right? Or how it's supposed to hit. And I will tell you that my first, I'm going to call it aha moment, was in early 20s. I was in college. I loved college. I was in a really great space and had great friends. And we were out after, having a drink or two at pub, and we went to this pizza restaurant on campus. And I remember looking across the restaurant, and there was a gentleman standing in the corner, someone I didn't know. He looked like he probably worked there because he was definitely not a college student. And Dogma, I felt sadness and despondency and all the things that I knew SallyAnn, did not feel. So I didn't understand what that feeling was. And back then I said, okay, I got to go, left my girls, ran back to the dorm room and had to call my mom. Okay, pre-cell phones. I'm dating myself, but yes. And I remember I called my mother and I was like, okay, I am having a nervous breakdown. I was like, you have to come get me. She's like, what's going on? Like, tell me the story. So I was explaining that these emotions hit me that I didn't recognize. Back then, they didn't have a word for empath, but that's what I was. That's how it woke me up, is these feelings of other people. And it still hits really strong, either really good or really bad, but I've learned to control it. But it was really like my awakening. Now, thank goodness I had a mother who was supportive, who kind of like was, I told her the whole story and she was like, ugh, you're fine. You're just psychic. And I was like, what? What? What are you talking about? Like, not a word ever really used in my house. But when you grow up and you don't know what you don't know?
Yes.
Right? Like, my mother would pick up the phone and knew who was on the phone before caller ID, right? Like, my grandmother used to, oh my God, my grandmother, she's hysterical. So she'd come and seek me out and she'd be like, okay, so I had this dream and this is going to happen to you. And don't do X, do Y. Well, you're 18-year-old kid. Sure enough, the next day, what your grandmother described shows up and you do X, you don't do Y. I'm like, grandma, guess what? This happened. She's like, smacks me on the top of the head like any good Sicilian grandmother would and says, don't do it again. And then 3 days later, she comes, I had a dream and this is what's going to happen. And then you realize, oh my gosh, there's something else. Well, I just thought that's how life was, right? Like, I just always thought that people in your family would say, hey, these things are going to happen, do this. I didn't know that it was like a gift that God gave us, family or universe, source, however you feel comfortable with that higher power. And so when my mother kind of said, oh yeah, no, you're just psychic, I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. Like that was my light bulb, and really kind of went into training within a month. I just turned 20 years old and I get to learn to understand who my guardian angels are, what they mean to me, how I talk to them every day, some a little past life stuff even, which all resonate so strongly to me. I'm like, I get it. I understand it. And, I'm blessed because I am open to it. And that's what I tell a lot of my clients is, okay, now that you've come, now you're open to it. You've kind of cracked the door open. So be open to what comes, right? Accept what comes, understand what comes in. Because I think that's our little introduction to know that there's something else out there to, maybe I'm going to say, develop faith. I always thought I was a faithful person, but 10 years out of the corporate world doing what I'm doing 100% of the time, I am like, holy moly's, I have almost no fear in my life because I know it's going to just work out. And it's comforting. It's not frightening. It's really comforting. And, I've been able to use this gift through my corporate career and personal career. It's just amazing. I do think of it as a gift. I have an amazing life. I'm very grateful for it every single day.
I so hear you on that. And it is a gift. And to be able to share that with others is truly, truly amazing. And it's through these stories, you're not the first one to come onto the show and tell me about the magic that you feel when you can connect with that spiritual part of yourself and really experience those beautiful gifts, whether it's being an empath, a clairvoyant, or, even just talking to people. I find that there is a magic in having a conversation about exactly what we're talking about. And just that conversation that we're having today, someone might at the other end of this podcast think to themselves, oh, wow, I so get that. And that might be that crack in the door, as you say, that opens someone else up to, living this beautiful life in a different way. As you said, it's not just about the life that we're living. It's so much more, isn't it?
It really is.
Tell me, in terms of your own life, you've talked a little bit about how that's influenced your life, but how would you say that it influences the people that you work with?
Well, so when I was in the corporate world, the funny thing is, I used to put events together for a large venue, and we were always very philanthropic. I always had to pull in philanthropic into it because if you can, you should. That's my motto. If I can give, I will. And so I remember saying to people that I worked with, yeah, we just talked to a movie studio about this movie. I want a hot air balloon. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yep, I want a hot air balloon. We're going to get a hot air balloon. We're going to do an event. The very next morning, I was in my office and I get like an intercom and they were like, you need to talk to this person right now. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? They're like, it's the Boy Scouts. They're here and they have a hot air balloon. I was like, well, that was fast manifestation. I mean, it happened.
Absolutely.
So, things like that happen. So this way we were able to help the Boy Scouts and another charity and help people we never even saw or talked to or touched, right? But we did touch their lives. On broad scales, those things happen. And then on more intimate scales, I had a client once and this woman came in and I said, hey, great to meet you. Honored to be here. How did you find me? And she fans out 3 of my business cards. And she says, 3 people that don't know each other, that know me, 3 people in 1 week gave me your card. I think I should be here. And I was like, I agree. When she left, and she's been back a number of times, but it was a hard time in her life. Her husband had just passed very unexpectedly, and she was trying to process it. It's funny because when she comes to me, she barely says a word during a session. I have people record it because, I'm just the telephone to your guardian angel. So I don't remember. It's not for me to remember. It's for your life. And one time, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th time I said, is everything okay? Like, I notice you don't say anything during the session. And she goes, I don't want my voice on it. I only want yours. I'm like, okay, that's not typically the way I talk to my clients. Typically, it's a conversation kind of like we're having now. And they overall feel better, right? The goal is for the person on the other side to have things resonate with them and be able to ask questions and, to get closure. Sometimes it's closure. I have had literally clients look different when they've walked out the door, almost like not recognize them as the person I've been talking to for an hour because of how they get to change or release or I guess release is a really great way to put it, right? Some clients sob, some clients just change because the burden has left them, the burden that they think has been put on them for some reason or someone else has put on them or we've put on ourselves, right? So it's really fascinating. I've been so blessed, but I know that when I get response back or that immediate response, it's fascinating. It's amazing the things, the connections that, as you know, talking to guardian angels, talking to spirit, and what that does for humans here. I think one of the biggest things that I hope that my clients walk away with or that I want to gift them is permission to live the life that they think they deserve, permission to live the life that they should, permission to walk through. I call them doors, right? The opportunities that walk in front of us, that we have to walk through that door so we can grow and become better people. That's like the biggest gift that I can give someone, is to say, here's this angel door, here's this God door, walk through it. I promise you what's on the other end is better. I promise you that being stuck here and walking around that door is just keeps showing up. So let's walk through the door so you can move on with your life, feel unstuck, know that you deserve more.
And that's absolutely right. And I think in these difficult times, a lot of people find themselves in a place where they don't want to be in, but they're afraid to open that door. They're afraid to step away from the familiarity of that job, that paycheck, that anything that is a block in their life. And I think you and I, being light workers in so many different ways, can help people really with that. SallyAnn, thank you for sharing what you do for people and how that has influenced yourself and others. Is there something that you would like to share with our listeners about anything that you would like to pass on to them in terms of your own platform, or any specials that you might have for them in terms of an offer?
Yes, I would love to offer your listeners some opportunities. Everything is Heaven's Light Wellness on all social media. We have a YouTube channel, so once a month we'll distribute or we'll record a themed event. So that's on YouTube. We follow a similar format for all social media. So we're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And then also heavenslightwellness.com, where you can sign up for a newsletter. We don't send out a lot of emails, once a month, maybe twice a month, just to gift information. It's really important to me to gift information to people so this way then they can make decisions for themselves. They can empower themselves. They can be who they need to be. So heavenslightwellness.com. And weekly I do these angel card pulls. So I have a deck of angel cards that I've produced with some help from above, and they're all positive affirmations. I shuffle the cards and put in energy into the cards and say, okay, this week, the people that see this, this is the message they need to get. And then it'll be a positive affirmation from angels above to help you through the week. But I'd also love to gift, especially in January. Times are harder in January, I think, after the holidays, or fiscalness, if you will. But you can get a $20 gift card by texting 20 to my text line, which is 480-685-4411. I love repetitive numbers, angel numbers, right? So it's a US number, so it's a 1. So +1 480-685-4411. And then just text 20 and you'll get a $20 gift card for your next appointment. So, and you can decide whatever it wants to be. There's a whole bunch of stuff on our website.
Wonderful. Thank you, SallyAnn, and thank you for that special offer. To our listeners, I hope that you do take SallyAnn up on her offer. We will get this show out in due course, obviously. And I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing the information. I think that's so crucial to help people to be able to say, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to accept this into my life. And we do that with gratitude. Is there anything else that you would like to add today, SallyAnn?
Yes, I want to make sure that everybody knows that they really are loved.
That is so beautiful. Absolutely. And I think, you and I doing readings and connecting with people, it really does bring that forth, that whether it's our angels, whether it's our loved ones in spirit, that really do bring back that beautiful love into your heart, and where you feel that even if you've got challenges, you can definitely move on. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. In the meantime, if you found this episode valuable, please share information about the show with 3 people who you believe would find it beneficial. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you're listening. Until the next episode, blessings, and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.